Hey guys, good morning. It's about 10:45 in the morning on March 30th, 2022. We have a quarterly closure tomorrow. We've got a significant options open interest expiring on April 14th. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a look at how I analyze options open interest, how I analyze max pain, and I do this myself. Usually, sometimes I'll take a look and see what other Max Payne websites kind of discuss. And what I'd like to do is kind of talk a little bit about where the market is right now and where I think it could be going by the 14th of March, or sorry, the 14th of April. Before I get into any of this, courses, you all know this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and take a look over at the chart. So I've got a chart here of the S&P 500. Taking a look at it, again, I'm not going to discuss this too much, but taking a look at it from the top here to the bottom and where we're at right now, let's just kind of like just really quickly just take a look at this, and then we'll get into the options part, which is important. There is a high probability that what we've got here is an ABC pattern that is obviously completed, right? And then from there, what it kind of looks like to me is that we've got another A, B, and then of course working and maybe even completing the wave C pattern here, and then potentially starting a move down. Let's take a look at this from a fib level perspective, from the dominant pivot high to the dominant pivot low. We obviously broke through the 618. Let's just take a look and see where that 786 is. That 786 is just a little bit higher. If we poked a little bit higher, that would be okay, up here to about 4660. Now, from there, we've got lots of things that I'd like to discuss. First is the options open interest. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this for a moment. First thing that we can see here is for the April 14th expiration, there is 3.5 million contracts, and this is on SPY, that are open right now. 3.5 million contracts are open. 20% of them are calls. 79% of them are puts. We've got some data from yesterday's trading day, but this is what everybody hyper focuses on. 79% of these options are puts. 20% of them are calls. That sounds, at the surface, that the market is heavily bearish right now. Well, you've got a lot of open interest that is in puts. But let's just go ahead and take a look at this a little bit deeper here so that we can take a look at the data that's underlying all of that open interest. So what I've got here is basically I've gone into Thinkorswim. I've exported the options chain for April 14th. So we see here we've got April 14th, and we've got the strikes, all of the options chain from the 100 strike all the way to the 640 strike that we've got down here at the bottom. What I've then done is I've taken a look at the open interest, and then I have the bid and the ask. Okay, so when you get into options that are way out of the money, you've got a 0 and a 1. What I've basically done here is I've counted those as being worth a penny. So nothing's going to be worth a half of a cent. So we've got basically everything kind of floored at 1 penny, so on and so forth. So we're rounding it to the nearest cent. And then we've got the open interest, which what we're going to do is basically calculate, take the open interest and multiply that by the bid ask mark, right? So we take the ask minus the bid and we divide that in 2 to get the average, which is typically the mark that's right in between the bid and the ask. So we're going to take the open interest, multiply it by the mark to get your value. And we've got that over here on the right-hand side. So the value is about $99,000 for these 12,139, 100. Sorry, this is at line 149. So this is at the 457 call. The open interest is about $99,000. Let me move over just a little bit here so we can see this a little bit more. We have 1,990 457 puts. So that's your open interest on the 457 put. And you take the 1,990 and you're going to multiply that by the mark. So you're going to take the 434 minus the 432 divided by 2, which is going to give you 433. So 433 times 1,990 gives you a value of 8,616.70. Now, what I'm not doing here is I'm not, multiplying this by the 100. So I'm not taking that into account. So as you know, this 432, 434 is not actually 434. This is $434. So have to take that into account as well when you're looking at this. Now, take all that into account. You've got all of this data that's presented here. We've got 450. This row right here is the row that has the most value. But what you can see here really quickly, $763,000, which actually equates to much more than that if you take the multiplier into effect. So just at the option value itself, 763,997. And then you've got on the put side, well, we've only got 235,527. So that's very interesting. So let's take this all together, put it all together. What we've got the call open interest at almost $10 million, not taking into account the multiplier. The put open interest at $2.1 million, again, not taking into account the multiplier. This is just the raw option price value. Your highest open interest for the call is the 450 strike. The highest open interest for the put is the 350 strike. But when you take into dollar value, like actual dollars, there is 764,260 at the 450 strike and only 235,527, which is the highest dollar amount at the 450 strike as well. Now, the highest open interest is at the 350. So that's very interesting that you've got more contracts that are open at the 350 than you do at the 450. The most money is at the 450, but there are basically 3 times as many call as far as the dollar value goes. There's 3 times as much in the 450 call than there is in the 450 put. So taking all of this into consideration, my analysis says that there is a high degree of probability that we're actually going to see a pullback into April 14th. Looking at the chart, again, we've got tons of time for April 14th to roll around. That's all the way up here. April 14th, let's just go ahead and mark it. April 14th, we're going to put a vertical line right there. And that is basically the options expiration that has the most open interest here in the near future, right? We can take the same thing and take a look at the May 20th and the June 17th. We can take a look at those independently. I'm focusing just on April 14th, and this is how I got to the conclusion that it is possible that we go down to about 4,500. Now, 4,500 isn't a very steep pullback. That's only to approximately right here, okay? So let me move that out of the way, and let's just take a look at this. So that's only a pullback to approximately right here. I mean, it's possible we go further than that. It's very possible that we go further than that. But again, we've got a couple things going on here. We've got potential for an AB working on the C, but you've also got a lot of people that are saying that this is a 1, 2, 1, 2. If this is the case, a pullback to 4,500 makes a whole lot of sense. That would be a great thing for a 1, 2, 3, pullback for the 4, and then we potentially go higher. One way or another, I'm thinking that sometime before April 14th, we are going to see a move back to 4,500. If we go lower than 4,500, well, then I'll be looking at strikes further out. I'll be looking at how the options open interest changes between now and then, because certainly a lot can happen between now and then. It may be too early to tell, but right now, if I take a look at the money, that's a lot of money that's in calls right now. That's actual value right now. You could liquidate the position, and that 764,000, again, not taking into account the multiplier, that 764,000 would be able to be realized right now at this moment in time. So, in my opinion, it is the market maker's best interest to pull the price down to the 450, which would cause this to erode and would cause, of course, it would cause this to increase in value. But by expiration, if both of these expired worthless, that would be ideal. That 450 strike is where that open interest, the highest amount of dollar value is currently sitting right now. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.